All right, next question. Question reads, we're going to be solving this equation for x, and it states that x minus 6 equals negative 10. So the biggest thing about this one here, I think we can all agree, is, well, the negatives. So we have some negatives to deal with, but it's about how we handle them that's important. So here we go. If we want to get x by itself, stay focused on what operations are happening around it. And it says here, x minus 6. Simply put, everybody, what is the opposite of subtracting 6? What's the opposite of that? Addition all day. So that's what we're going to do. We'll add 6 to both sides, on the left and on the right. Nice and easy. And then from there, we will cancel out, giving us x equals, and then here we are. This is where people get confused. Most folks will think, oh, 10 plus 6, that's 16. No, not at all. We have a negative and a positive being combined, and here's how it's going to work. When you have a negative plus a positive, or a positive, minus a number, what you're really doing is just taking the difference. You're subtracting. Take the difference, and you're going to keep the sign of the bigger number. Help me out, everyone. What is 10 minus 6? Help me out. 10 minus 6 is absolutely going to be 4. Now, the next question is, which of these numbers is the bigger one? The 10 or the 6? The 10 was bigger, exactly. And so we'll keep the sign of the bigger number. So that'll be negative 4 as our answer. So the correct answer here is answer choice B. Before I continue, just want to go ahead and point this out here. Before I continue, so if we check out a number line and we put ourselves here, that's 0. And then let's say we have negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. Everybody, if we're at negative 10, so right over here, what does plus 6 tell us to do? Does it tell us to go to the left 6 or go to the right 6? What does plus 6 mean? Yeah, it means go to the right. So if you count with me, we're at negative 10. So here we go. We're going to count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that will put us right here at negative 4. So hopefully that makes a little more sense when it comes to just trying to visualize how negatives work when it comes to addition and subtraction. But there we are, my party people. Now it's time to move forward to the next one. So next question, and no matter what, everyone, when we're tackling word problems, every question is a new question, and we always want to start with the question sentence. So here, where that question mark is, it asks, what is the total weight? So if a mechanic needs this many bolts for a repair job, what is the total weight? Everyone, is it fair to say that in all of these words here, really what I care about is just, at the end of the day, finding total weight? Is that fair to say while I explore this problem? Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about total weight, there are a couple different ways that we can get there. We can add everything up, or there might be some multiplication involved, but total weight is getting the sum total, getting it all together. So when I take a look at the information that I'm given, here's what I know. I know that a single bolt weighs this many ounces, and a mechanic needs 28 of these bolts. So everyone, before we even, try to understand where the pounds here come from, if we're trying to find total weight, and I know that I have this many of the items, and I know how much every item weighs, what do I do? What do I do to get the total weight if I know how many items and the weight of each item? What am I supposed to do? That's multiplication all the way. We're multiplying to get that grand total. So here we are. I'll go ahead and do the 28 bolts. I'll multiply that by the 3 ounces for each bolt. And once we do that, here we go. We have 8 multiplied by 3, which is 24. Carry that 2. And then we have 2 times 3 is 6. Carry that 2, and that gives us 8. So we have a total of 84 ounces. And if we take a look here, I don't quite see that. Now, because I don't quite see that, everybody, what do I think I should do? What should I do next? Now, I see a lot of us saying divide. Divide is not the right word to use. It's the right action. Sure, we're going to divide. But the word I'm looking for is convert. Correct. We're going to be converting, everyone. Because notice that the final answer that we have is 84 ounces, but the answer choices are all in either pounds or pounds and ounces. So this is where we're going to convert. So let's first write down that conversion rate. Everyone, is this correctly written here on the screen? 1 pound equals 16 ounces. Great, that is written correctly. Now, when we want to go from ounces to pounds and ounces, well, what we are doing here, everybody, is division. Why is that? Remember, we're trying to get to pounds. This is the bigger unit. This is our big unit. So we're trying to go from the small unit to the big unit. And if you've been paying attention with your notes here, this is going to tell us to divide every single time. So here we go. We have 16 going into 84. And everyone, you tell me, how many times does 16 go into 84? And if you are going to guess, no worries. That's part of the game when it comes to long division. And there's no shame in that. I'll take a guess, and I'll guess 5. So I'll go ahead and do 16 times 5 to see if that's the right number. 6 times 5 is 30. Carry the 3. And then we have 1 times 5 is 5. Carry the 3. That's 8. So yeah, that's definitely as close as we can get. So that's going to be a whole 5. So it's going to be 5 pounds. And when we subtract that 80, everybody, what remains? What is the remainder? That remainder is 4. This is the remaining number of ounces. The 5 represents the pounds right here. And then the 4 represents the remaining ounces right there. So there we go. The remainder is the remaining unit. So that means that the correct final answer is 5 pounds and 4 ounces, which is answer choice A. And there we are, my party people. Hopefully we're good on this one and we're ready for another one. All right, everybody, let's take care of this problem here. So as always, we're going to begin with that question sentence. What do we want? And it says, what is the area of the patio? All right, sounds good. So to find the area of the patio, we first need to know what shape we're dealing with. Because I think we can all agree, if we're doing a rectangle versus a triangle, 2 different formulas. So yes, we absolutely see a massive keyword in area, but we also need the shape, so we're not guessing. And we see that shape right here. That shape says rectangular, so we can assume rectangle. So immediately what you want to do in your head or on paper is write down that formula if you're looking for that area. In this case, for a rectangle, we're going to have the length multiplied by the width. And we notice that the problem actually gives us those 2 values. For the length, it says 12 feet long, and for the width, it says 9 feet wide. So now that we see those 2 things, booyah, we're good. We have the length, we have the width. Let's plug it in, and we are done. 12 for the length, 9 for the width. Multiply those 2 together. 12 multiplied by 9. And what does that give us? That'll be a nice and smooth 108. Now, don't forget, when we are dealing with area, those are square units because we have feet multiplied by feet. That'll make this 108 feet squared or square feet, whichever preference you have. But nonetheless, that makes the correct answer here. Answer choice C, 108 square feet.